Coming up, stepping on Legos will hurt my bare feet. Luckily, I have the high ground. This week, Lego Star Wars, and this is Most Extreme Podcast.
Welcome to Most Extreme Podcast, the show where we discuss and analyze the enigma that is 2000s pop culture. I'm Jonathan Snowdy.
I'm Brett Ellison.
And I'm Jarrett Whitworth.
And today, we're talking about Lego Star Wars, the video game.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a couple video games that I think are fair game for this episode. And we'll talk about how those got made. But there's one in 2005. There's a sequel to that in 2006, as well as Lego Star Wars, the Complete Saga, which came out in 2007. That's the one I kind of consider to be definitive, but we'll talk about that later.
It's sort of the mixture of the two.
Right. It's sort of like the whole shebang.
I mean, the Complete Saga.
Wrapped up into one thing.
Yeah. Real quick, I guess sort of an icebreaker. Do you all have a favorite planet? Or if you could live anywhere from Star Wars, what planet would you say you're from? Because I can go first and say that I would love to live on the Yavin 4 moon.
Yeah?
I like how it's it's got the woods, but it's also got different, because I don't want to live in indoor with, I like
bears.
Yeah, no, I'm not really against, oh shoot, I can't even remember the name.
Ewoks?
Yeah. Dang it. We're doing our Star Wars episode, I can't even remember.
All right, take from the top.
All right, back to one. No, yeah, but I think I'm going to say Yavin. So, hi, this is Brett coming in from Yavin.
Is that a good, isn't the real estate prices, aren't they going to drop because of all the Death Star debris, drifting?
Well, that's what makes it cheap.
What do you think?
Makes it cheap. Yeah, you got any planets?
Sounds about right.
You like the most?
Real estate expertise. Give me some of that floating city. What planet?
Bespin?
Yeah,
where Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, Cloud City.
Oh, yeah.
Cloud City,
which is in Bespin,
yeah.
I think.
Oh, that's a good choice.
I want to be a part of that.
That's a good
sick
choice.
Place, yeah. Because it's not Coruscant where it's the metropolis city, like a planet city. But it's
just a place out. You got some space, some land.
A little bit more luxurious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jonathan?
Man, the only thing that comes to mind is Tatooine.
Oh, loser.
No, this is pod racing.
It's fine.
I don't know if...
Isn't that
a
place that nobody
wants?
It
just makes me torn between my two ultimate lifestyles, which is either, being a sand person or selling garbage for a living.
Oh, sure.
Both are pretty good,
Those are the two.
Yeah.
Pretty ultimate prime, and as long as you don't hate sand, it's not a bad place to settle down and fall into a Sarlacc pit.
Hey, let's bring out our guest. You know him from the Dope or No Movie podcast and the YouTube channel Mike and John. It's Michael Oechsli.
That's me.
Hey, do you have a Star Wars planet that you are fond of?
Actually, I honestly, I probably have to go with Hoth. And
Really?
I'll get to why later.
Oh, okay.
Love
man.
that.
You guys,
So people who are interested will have to listen to the whole thing.
If they weren't hooked before, they're
exactly
hooked
hooked now.
Yeah, get ready. There's these excuse me.
Jeez.
No, don't worry. There's a for the ride at Disneyland Star Tours. Do you guys know about that one? It's essentially the idea is that it's a really cheap travel airline in the Star Wars world called Star Tours, and it's basically a simulator ride which every ride is randomized, so it takes you to a different planet every time.
Oh, that's cool.
And then chaos ensues. But
is it one of those movie rides where it's got the screen, or is it an actual? Okay.
It's basically you're in a cabin.
Thing?
Yeah, sort of. You're in a cabin, but the whole thing is moving.
I see.
And there's effects going off. The original version, they had created an original robot named Rex. who was like an animatronic in there. In the newer version, they've added C-3PO, so he's like an animatronic in the room with you, like trying to like push the buttons and everything. It's really great.
This was at Disney World?
It's a Disney. I think it's at almost every park. Yeah.
Is that where the like old Lilo and Stitch ride?
No.
Or what replaced
I've always
that?
wondered
Something
that
replaced
was
that.
called.
What's the difference between world and land? That's my question.
Okay, all right. I'm a huge Disney parks nerd, huge theme park nerd. Shout out to Podcast The Ride; they're my favorite podcast of all time. Besides this one, of course.
Yeah, of course.
So real quick, Land
You've
was
done
the
it now.
original.
Yeah.
Land was the original. It's in California, Anaheim, California.
Okay.
World is in Florida.
So world's the newer one.
Newer
Sort of.
as in it came out in like the 70s.
Okay.
But the difference is that like Land is probably like the size of like a college campus, and World is the like exact size of like the city of San Francisco.
Okay.
So it's huge.
Yeah.
But I brought it up because when they were promoting Star Tours, they made these beautiful posters that were super minimalist and just sort of to like almost
Oh,
like a
nice.
travel
That's incredible.
like thing. So
Something
that
you'd find
items
in
are
like
beautiful.
a brochure in Star Wars. Of like,
right.
visit this
That's sort of the
planet.
idea. But they made them as full posters,
Nice.
and I
That's
don't
great.
know if you can still buy them. But I'm like, if I could hang anything up on my wall, that
Yeah.
would be
Yeah.
the one. I think the Tatooine one is pretty. It's of
Yeah,
Jabba's palace.
That's incredible. Somewhere, I think it might still be at my parents' house. I've been moving recently, but somewhere I have a limited edition poster I got from. We had a Think Geek like brick and mortar store open up in Raleigh a few years ago. I got one that was it was a Star Wars poster, but as if it was like a B grade monster movie.
yeah.
It was like Attack of the Sand People or something.
Wasn't it Turkish Star? No, that's an actual movie. Turkish Star Wars. I was thinking, wasn't it
Turkish
Turkish
Star-
Star Wars?
No,
That's
this
an
one is
actual
like
thing,
this
though.
one is like
Wasn't that the candy in Chronicles of Narnia?
Yeah.
Turkish Star Wars.
Edmund, your favorite?
What was it when we saw Into the Spider-Verse at Alamo?
right, at
They
Alamo
played
Draft
a
House.
clip from like a Turkish version of like
Or it
TV
might have been
Spider-Man.
Spanish.
I'm not sure.
They showed
was
like they were like trying to
Portuguese or
explain
Turkish.
like the cultural impact. Like before the movies, at most like an AMC or something, will just play like ads or something the whole time. But the Alamo, they I guess because they're privately owned a little bit more, that they try to make it more experience. So they'll before any movie they'll try to like show something that goes along with it. But for Into the Spider-Verse, they had like the whole history of Spider-Man, and they found like these deep cuts. So it was like Turkish Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think he fought. Did he fight like?
He fought like anti-Spider-Man, who was
Yeah.
like red and green.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at one point I just remember I think it was maybe a Spanish version of or something, but it was like Spider-Man jumps into a car and then looks at the camera and goes like "Hasta la vista, americano," and like drives off. He's Spider-Man and he drives the car instead of swings away.
Yeah, of course.
So it was pretty fantastic.
was
It was
it-
like from like the 60s or something.
Was it at least a convertible?
It was like a
There was speaking of convertibles, there was a clip from the Japanese
Of
Spider-Man
course.
where he like goes full
Jared, you look
Transformer,
dumbfounded.
and I forget if he turns into a car or a jet. Do you remember that? There's like
oh yeah, he turned. I think he like flies.
he
Pretty
like
great.
turns into a jet and flies off.
That was almost better than Into the Spider-Man. almost.
Just that one clip.
So we're talking everything Lego, sort of Lego Star Wars. Do y'all have any background with, I guess, Lego Star Wars or Lego in general?
I mean, I grew up just on Lego, just like the actual like toys and stuff.
Okay.
I mean, like, who doesn't nowadays though? There's so much everywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
The options just keep getting better.
Yeah.
Although it has gotten, I feel like it's gotten a lot more expensive than I
It has
remember.
for sure.
That is one of my points in my notes is that I think ever since I can remember, if I remember Lego still being expensive, but I feel like now, just like walking through Target the other day was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
these are super expensive.
Yeah.
So, Jared, did you grow up with it as a Lego kid?
Oh yeah, yeah. We had Legos and like the Brio train sets and stuff. Like the like
That
wooden-
doesn't count.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. In addition to Legos,
Well,
we
who
had
grew up
all the
with Diplo
variety
or-
of like create
Duplo,
things,
Diplo.
blocks, and everything.
Yeah.
We had like all kinds of tubs
Yeah, yeah.
full of everything. Bunch of jerks. Over
Yeah.
Jonathan, were you a Lego kid?
Yeah, absolutely. We had, I think we still have, they're stored somewhere, like huge totes of all our Lego bricks.
Did you guys do like the giant like box of Legos? Just,
Yes,
like all
that's
together?
definitely what I did.
Okay.
Actually, a few years ago, my mom was like, "So, do you want the Transformers, Bionicles, and Lego?" And I was like, "Yes,
All of it. Yeah. Very cool.
Is that a threat?
yeah, basically."
I might be the only one from who was not a Lego kid. I
Oh,
did not
really?
grow up as Legos. When I was little, my granddad got us a huge Castle Playmobil set. So I kind of grew up more as a Playmobil
I
kid.
did have a few Playmobil things.
We had some.
but
I think,
they were okay.
yeah, for our household, Lego was king, and Playmobil was kind of like every now and then.
Yeah, I do remember getting like 1 or 2 Lego sets, but I was never like. I think it was one of the things where it's like, and then you're done building it. Now what?
Yeah.
But now I think, but I still enjoyed playing with
Yeah.
Legos,
Yeah,
but that was never like the thing for me.
I
even
think-
though now I love it.
Yeah. I definitely think Lego had had several advantages over Playmobil. Like you could do more with it in addition to just building whatever set you had bought. And sometimes Lego encouraged that. They used to have these creator kits that were like 5 in 1. So you could make like the dinosaur, the jet, the truck, or the robot or something else.
Right.
That really is like the heart and soul behind the Lego
Right.
movie. What?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
Do
true.
not
exactly.
be bound to
Yeah.
the,
And that movie is a lot of not only in the story but also in the animation style and trying to make it look like it could have been done in stop motion entirely with Lego
Yeah.
bricks. It was really kind of an homage to the Lego fans.
Yeah, great film. Another great film featuring Legos.
The second movie, is that what you're going to
Well,
say?
maybe
No.
that.
Lego Movie 2.
I was thinking Roadblocks.
Oh, that's true. A little short film we did.
Yeah.
So for all those who have
another
no
little
clue,
shout.
The Vimeo is still live, right?
yeah, we'll post it.
I was about to say, I've never heard of that.
No. You have.
Yeah,
just don't know it
yeah,
yet.
sure, yeah.
So Legos.
Be cool, man.
yeah.
Lego Movie will come up later in some of my notes.
Oh,
But
really?
so Lego Star Wars. Did you guys play the video games at all? Did you play with the toys of Lego Star Wars?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes to both.
Okay.
I remember having and occasionally having played the video game.
Okay. Sweet.
And I was looking up like other games, not just all the other like Lego games that these people made, but like other games that same company had made.
Yes,
Traveler's
I have that in
Tales?
my list
Yeah.
too.
And I was like, I played a lot of those.
Yeah,
like,
it surprised me. I did the same thing.
Do we want to get into that right now? Traveler's Tales, some
Yeah,
of the
dude.
games they made. Okay, I have the list of
You've
some
got a
of the
list
games
of
they
some of
made.
their games? Okay.
Okay, Sonic R.
Yes, terrible. One of the worst racing games of all
my God.
time.
the one.
Here you go, Jared. You got it.
No, well, just you said Sonic. So Sonic Blast, we had that for the Sega Game Gear. Did anybody else have a?
I
Game
did not
Gear?
own a Game Gear, but I do know about it.
It was
One of the first handheld color in color.
Yeah, if it ran on 6 AA batteries.
Holy cow.
I was the one of the 5 best things to ever happen to dolphins was rechargeable Game Boy batteries.
Yeah.
Because imagine how many AA's the entire
for
generations of people went through.
Okay,
Out of control.
Here, you list some more games.
Oh yeah, but so that Sonic Blast and then the Toy Story game.
Yeah,
I
for
remember having
PS1.
that for the Game Boy. No, we had one for the Game
dang.
Boy.
Oh, yeah.
What are you talking about? The Game Boy Advance? Did you have the Game Boy Advance or the original
No,
Game
Game Boy.
Boy? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one. With like green graphics. That's just all
yeah,
it had.
man.
Yes. So Traveler's Tales did make Toy Story Racers, Bugs Life, Finding Nemo.
I was actually surprised at how many Toy Story games they made.
Yeah.
There were like 2, there were like 3, maybe 4.
I feel like they had some deal with like Pixar at some point.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because they made a lot of.
They
Pixar
kind of
movies.
did. It was through Activision.
And then they also made one of my favorite games. Actually, is Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex.
I was about to say that's another game I grew up with. So I was like, man, it was surprising how many GameCube games I grew up with that were all like Traveler's Tales.
Oh yeah, they made a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
And since 2009, they've only been making Lego games since. Do you guys know what their last non-Lego game was?
No.
We just kind of talked about it.
I'm cheating because I'm looking at the list.
Yo,
I don't
go
wanna-
for it,
No,
Jared.
no, no,
You
no.
say
I'll
it.
let you.
The last game they made that wasn't Lego was the Chronicles of Narnia: Prince Caspian.
Yes.
They made a game.
Yeah, this is back in the day when they had so many game tie-ins to movies.
Oh I did see that.
It's the most edgy cover art I've seen in a long time.
Didn't they also make one for the Lion, the
like-
Witch, and the Wardrobe?
Emo, Prince Caspian.
They might have,
They
but
did.
that was the
yeah,
last
yeah, yeah,
one.
they did.
Yeah, I don't know what platforms that came out on.
The Chronicles of Narnia: Prince Caspian, a movie I have seen,
Yep.
but cannot remember a single thing that happened.
I remember that this younger brother got his flashlight back. That's all I remember because he forgot it in the last movie.
About.
And
Must have been a great
Caspian was
movie.
like, "Oh, by the way, I have this," and he was like, "Oh, sweet." That's all I remember.
In England, we call it a torch.
I know that was the thing. It was like a torch. When I read the book, I was like, "Wait, he left like a flaming stick behind. Why would he care about that?" And then my mom was like,
Walking around like the 40s London with a torch.
"Yeah." That's why I was confused. I'm like,
30s, excuse me. Jeez, I'm sorry. It's been a weird day. Well, I wanted to say, since we've talked about this at our first episode, sort of that this is our first ever Star Wars episode, and we talked about how we do not want to do the Star Wars prequels as a topic of this. And so, in a way, this is us sort of bouncing around it because we're doing Star Wars, but we wanted to talk about as little as possible. So, right now, what we're going to do is we are all going to briefly talk about our opinions of the Star Wars prequels, and we're going to get it over with as soon as possible. That is why I have asked you all, if possible, you have 30 seconds, no more, no less, to give your prepared statements, town hall style, up at the podium of the Star Wars prequels.
Lightning round.
I will time you.
"Okay."
Give me 1 second.
I just got weirdly nervous.
I said it.
Mine's gonna take 31 seconds. Yeah.
Brett's just gonna cut you off.
Yeah.
Next candidate.
Just turn your mic
Do we
off.
have a blowhorn
Yeah.
or something as like?
I'll add
a
in a
lever
sound
and you
effect
fall
of
through a
something.
chute.
Okay.
I'll add a sound effect, but I'm right now. I'll just use my Timex watch, Iron Man watches. If you go to timex.com
For a second, I thought
for
this
all
was
of your
gonna be-
athletic uses, you can see all types of Timex watches that can be used for anything that you need, more style, more sport. So go to timex.com and type in Jonathan Snowdy and get 50% off on your every online purchase. Guaranteed to work.
Email any complaints to Jonathan
Snowdy,
Snowdy at
yeah,
gmail.com.
All right. Does anybody want to go first?
I want a second to kind of go over this.
You want to go over
I
this?
can
No,
go
you
first.
legitimately
I can
can
go
Okay,
first.
are you ready?
Yeah.
All right,
I'm-
Michael.
30
All
seconds
right,
on the
30
clock.
seconds in 3, 2, 1.
So I'm going to start off with a quote from Reggie from Nintendo. "The game is fun." Yeah, so being one of the games on the GameCube is what I grew up most on. And I don't know, just it's super satisfying to break things and collect everything and build everything. It's one of the many games that I complete to 100% just about every time I play it. So A in my book.
And your time's up. All right. We were actually talking about the
We're talking about the
films.
prequel
Oh, you're talking about the movies. Okay.
Leave it in. Leave it in.
Leave it in.
I don't think we're going to leave that in.
No, we'll leave it in.
Yeah, we would hate.
I thought we were talking about
hate
the
to
prequel
waste the
game.
listeners'
No, it's
time.
okay.
We were talking about
their
Spider-Man. The first 10 minutes of this podcast.
Oh, I'm surprised anybody listens to this.
All right.
People downloaded it, but didn't
Jonathan,
actually
do you want to
listen.
go next?
Yeah, I'll go,
Okay.
I'll go.
Or do you want to take some time?
I can
Yeah.
talk about the prequels. Are
Okay,
you
your
talking about
opinion
all
on
six?
the Star Wars prequels?
All 6 of them.
No,
No.
the
Or
prequels.
just the 3.
The prequels.
Just the
Just the
prequels.
prequels.
No. The Phantom Menace,
Right.
Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith.
That's what I meant.
Okay. So I thought you meant like
we've
in
got
terms
some-
of how
no,
were
no,
they
We've
came
got
out.
some
Because
nomenclature
I get it
disputes.
because technically,
Yeah, so
4, 5, and
chronologically,
6.
yeah.
Right,
Guys,
right.
we've been talking about the prequels for 30 seconds and we're already fighting.
Yeah.
You might want to cut some of this.
Like, okay, Jonathan, do you want to go? Or...
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay. Ahem. Your opinion on the prequels in 3, 2, 1.
In my opinion on the Star Wars prequel films, they're definitely not as good as the original trilogy. I still think they're fun. I still think they fit in the larger universe. I think that they're a good overall story that was pretty poorly executed. And that's my 2 cents.
You've got some time left. You don't want to say anything else?
I'm going
That
to
was
take a moment to thank our sponsor, LaCroix.
Time-
All right, time's up.
Before you can even finish, I'm going to cut you off.
Jarrett, do you want to go?
Let's do it.
Okay. Ahem. Your opinions on the Star Wars prequels in 3, 2, 1.
So before The Force Awakens came out, the last movie I had actually seen, or the last Star Wars movie I had seen was Episode 3 in theaters. It had been a long time since I had even gone back and rewatched them. And I did before seeing Rise of Skywalker. I think that yes, Jonathan, I would agree with you. The story is almost a little more interesting because you're talking about the life and legacy of Darth Vader, who is arguably the most entertaining or most interesting character of the entire universe, right? It's like the Charizard card. All right, dang it! Han Solo's Mewtwo.
I have like one more
Sneak it
point.
out there. I think they're fun. Everybody lighten up.
Okay, you're done. You're
Yo,
done.
cut that out. That's not 1 minute 30
That's a joke.
seconds.
All right,
Leave
you
it
want to
out.
go?
I can go again.
All right,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
go
yeah.
last. All right. Your opinions on the Star Wars prequels in 3, 2, 1.
So of the prequels, honestly, Episode 1 is honestly one of my favorite Star Wars movies, just period. So that just has the other two I'm kind of less favorable for, just because I watched them a lot later, and just kind of to get them out of the way almost. But I freaking love Episode 1, pod racing, man. It's great. How much time? Is that it?
You get a little bit.
Okay, I got a little bit more time.
All of my friends are laughing that I would have run over time.
Yeah.
I'm a notorious.
All right.
long
All right.
game.
I'll go.
No, I'm gonna time you. You didn't.
No,
we didn't
don't
get
have
to,
the Timex.
I do-
Only Brett can do
we,
this.
We cannot give
Yeah.
people this
You're
promo
messing-
code
you're-
unless you get the
You're
time.
messing
that's
up
right.
the
Oh,
brand
sorry.
deal.
Sorry.
All right. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. My prepared statement. In 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. These movies suck.
I
They're
knew-
so terrible. Nothing about them is even redeemably close to being a perfect film at all. This directing is atrocious. The pacing and dialogue, the cinematography and acting is all designed by a 6-year-old. And now we live in the sick society where people defend these movies as if they're good. And they're the complete opposite. And I hate everything about these films so much they drive me crazy. That being said, the creature plant design is well done.
Oh, no. Cut him off right at the end. Wow. So you don't like that it's about Star
We
Wars.
can't talk about Star Wars after
Yeah.
that. That's all you're gonna get from us about the prequels.
No, just Star Wars in general.
That's it.
The whole
Yeah, I
episode
like
is just us going to be talking about other things,
So
like Disneyland.
around the time that the prequels were being made, Lucasfilm and Lego made a brand deal. It was initially for it was 1999 until I think 2008 was their initial brand deal. So that would cover from the release of Phantom Menace, a couple years after, or a few years after the release of Revenge of the Sith. They'd have a Star Wars branded Lego toy, so Star Wars as a Lego theme rather than like, Lego City or what have you.
It was the Lego's first brand deal, right?
You might be right on that. I haven't
Yeah.
looked into that as much.
Or like their first franchise adaptation thing.
Yeah,
What a way to start.
and that brand deal has been renewed since 2008 multiple times. Currently, it's been extended all the way to 2022. So if you're having a hard time in 2020, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. 2 more years,
more years.
guaranteed.
Just
Lego
keep
Star
waiting.
Wars. I want to talk a little bit about the history of sort of how Lego Star Wars, the video game, came into being. I want to give a little more context behind, a little bit even before that brand deal. So I think most of us know Star Wars. The original Star Wars, now known as Episode 4, A New Hope, came out in 1977 with Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi coming out 1980, 1983, respectively. So we're fast forwarding to the prequels, as I mentioned. 1999 is the release year of Episode 1, Phantom Menace. And so it's opening up this new era of Star Wars marketing in every way, shape, form, toys, video games, whatever, George Lucas can basically get licensed toys for, he's going to try and do it, because that's where he got most of his money from Star Wars, is
It's his
actually
specialty.
through the licensed merchandise. So Lego has been around for much longer than Star Wars. Lego was actually founded in 1932, and they've been called Lego since 1934, which is sort of a contraction, a shortened term of a Danish phrase that means play well, called leg god.
I did not know that.
Weren't they
Yeah.
originally a carpentry thing?
Yeah, they were
wooden
they were
toys?
wooden toys, so like wooden ducks, wooden trucks, things like that.
That's hilarious.
I remember because there was like a 30-minute YouTube ad about it, and I was like, oh.
We had a book that was the history of the Lego brick, and it went all the way back to the very first, and they had pictures of some of the. They're pretty like quaint, like antique looking, like it's like you have the string and you pull the train of ducks along, and they're on wheels.
Yeah.
So it's things like that.
I knew a mom who would not let their kids play with Legos because she was like, we only play with wooden toys, not plastic. I'm like, guess what?
Oh my goodness.
I've got something to show you. Why are we singing?
It's
So,
just you.
In 1949,
Why are you singing, Brett?
in 1949,
Just start having a conversation with yourself.
Lego began producing their first series of interlocking plastic bricks, and the current design that we have now, with the specific way they interlock and are designed to stick together, that was patented. That design was patented in 1958, and that's when they found the current plastic polymer that they're using, which is acrylonitrile butadiene styrene.
I'm sure that was pronounced correctly.
Or ABS.
Okay.
As we will never
That
refer
I-
to again in this
that
episode.
that I know is pronounced incorrectly. Yeah, it's 3 letters.
The other important thing to know with the history of Lego is that in 1978, the first Lego minifigures were introduced, which have become a staple of pretty much every Lego since.
Have they gone under much change?
So the first ones were a bit different, and then they
As I'm
fairly
sure.
quickly focused in on what the modern, like
Okay.
within a few years,
Yeah, yeah.
focused in on. I think you've seen the Lego movie,
Yeah.
right? And so there's the blue spaceman who's got like the broken
Yes.
helmet. So he is actually, I think, a vintage.
Oh, okay.
He's based on a vintage Lego set.
You know what? I think
from
I've
the
actually seen
70s.
pictures
Yeah.
of his thing like before, like when the movie came out, because that was before they released the sets based on the Lego movie.
Yeah.
And I remember something about him being very familiar.
Yeah, and he is like one of the like OG minifigures. I think that's why they had his helmet be
That's
like
the joke.
cracked.
Is he's
Yeah,
like
'cause
an
he- 'cause
old-
he's
It's
old,
because he's
yeah.
like
worn out.
like a 40-year-old Lego figure.
Originally, the Phil Lord and Chris Miller did an interview. They're saying one of the original characters we wanted to do was just like the torso of a character, or just like the chest part where it's like the head's not on and he still has the legs. It's just like a mute character that like followed them around. Which I wish
At the very end of the
like
movie,
that.
he's like, "Hey, my body."
Did you? Sorry to cut you off, Jonathan. Did
please.
you? I did see that like how the bricks themselves were made. I think it was on how this is.
Oh, I didn't go into that.
But they're like to mold the machines, like the molding machines, like they have to cook the plastic at like 450 degrees Fahrenheit.
I mean, it's a fairly
Yeah.
it's a very special plastic that they found to use for this because Lego holds up incredibly well. I don't know if you were ever unfortunate enough to own Mega Bloks.
Oh, they suck.
I was gonna say
They would break.
Are Mega Bloks still a thing? Because you
I
said that like
saw
that,
Garrison
that
could get up right now.
because you said that like Lego, copyrighted like their design, and I know it was slightly different.
Yeah,
but
so-
that always confused me because I'm like, these things are so similar, but one is so inferior.
So,
they're
so-
certainly still around.
In addition to having
size
cheaper
level.
plastic, Mega Bloks they couldn't use the same patented design
Right,
that
right.
Lego did. The patented design, if you turn like a 2x2 brick over, you'll see it's a square with a circle in the middle, and that
Right.
circle is part of their interlocking design that
Right.
helps them stick better.
Oh
In
yeah,
addition-
Mega Bloks doesn't have that.
Yeah, Mega Bloks can't have that 'cause
Right.
it's patented design.
It's just a hole.
Yeah, and that's part of why they don't fit together as well.
Man, Denmark, they think of everything.
Yeah.
Their design is so good.
Yeah. That's my number one reason why we should stop burning oil. Because technic-
Lego.
Well,
Yeah.
so if you're assuming that there's a limited amount of oil in the world, right?
Okay,
Which
which is a good assumption.
Right. There's most likely a limited amount of oil in the world as far as we understand oil right now. And so the more oil we burn, the less oil, like every time we burn oil, we are decreasing the maximum amount of Lego bricks that can exist in this
Oh,
planet.
You're right.
You
You're
see what I'm
right.
saying?
Gotcha. you good point.
So like we have to
have to
ask
conserve
ourselves,
that.
do we want to burn all the oil or do we want to
Do we
build
want-
more toys
Right,
for tomorrow's
exactly.
children?
We want the lizard kings of the future
Yeah.
to have as many Legos as they want to play with.
You know,
Um,
I
That will
did
be our
hear
legacy
I did
as a
hear
human race. We made Lego.
That would be our legacy.
I did hear a rumor from I haven't fact checked this, but someone was telling me once that the specific polymer ABS that they've used for Lego basically like never breaks down, as far as we can tell.
Wow.
And so, yeah, the lizard men of the future will literally
Yeah.
the archaeological dig sites, and it's like
I wasn't joking.
we found a complete X-wing.
Oh,
You know some
Inbox.
lizard men yourself, Jared?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Keep that to myself.
you.
Yeah, they'll dig up the Legos and the McDonald's fries that have
Did
been
you have
Yeah.
Did you have some more history?
I have a little more history. Let me find it here. So we've talked about the history of both Star Wars and Lego, how they sort of were coming together at this time when the prequels were being produced, brought to theaters. Huge marketing push on both their halves. So we need to then introduce really our protagonist of this history, which is
Me.
Game Studio.
Michael, you made it. Oh. That's what we brought you on.
Michael just takes off a mask.
Yeah.
John Burton.
John.
So Traveler's Tales is the studio that would end up developing the Lego Star Wars games.
Right.
They were founded in 1989 by John Burton and Andy Ingram. I have a bit of information on John Burton. I couldn't find that much on Andy Ingram. I don't know if you found any, Brett.
No, I did not.
So their first game was a 2D platformer called Leander, released in 1991. As far as I understand it, it's kind of like Legend of Zelda 2: Adventure of Link.
What,
sort of,
Is Lee Anders spelled with one E or
I think it's Lean.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
DER?
Yeah.
What platforms was it for?
Let me look that up. I don't have that
seeing-
open. Because that would have
Some
been
cool cover art.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Atari.
did when
you're
I looked
looking you're looking at Amiga,
Okay,
Atari
yeah,
ST, and
so
Genesis.
most like family computers and some and like Atari.
The early.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because that's 1991. All right. So, as we've kind of mentioned already, some of their other games leading up to Lego Star Wars, like Sonic R, and some of their Pixar and Disney games. And those are all important because that's them starting to get some repertoire with bigger names. So all the Disney and Pixar stuff are through basically publishing deals that they had with both Activision and THQ. So those are the ones that traditionally had the licenses to those franchises. And then they brought Traveler's Tales in to develop them. And then Sega, of course, for Sonic R, which even if you don't make a good game, this is still...
Still getting any
this
kind
is
of
still
deal with Sega.
working with Sega in the 90s.
Right.
So this is like their heyday.
Yeah.
So that's still a big deal. So fast forward a little bit further, Lego's got this brand deal with Lucasfilm. They're trying to work on creating both sets and video games. So they have Lego Interactive, which I think eventually got shut down.
If you've ever played some of the older Lego games,
Lego Island?
Lego Island,
Oh
Lego
my
Racers,
gosh, I love Lego Island.
some great games. Normally, the intro for those would be like a bunch of little Lego pieces
Yeah.
all falling from the sky like snow, all forming the logo that says Lego.
Yeah.
And it sounds sort of like sprinkles.
Yeah.
It's a sick logo. I think
It was pretty cool.
they should keep
I
doing
don't.
that.
I didn't get to
Forever.
research into that as much on Lego Interactive, but I heard there was some kind of controversy with them and the development of Lego Island.
Yes, I think there's a YouTube from the YouTube series Did You Know Gaming? There's
Yeah.
a whole video about that.
Yeah. So anyway, they were starting to work on a Lego Star Wars game. And so they actually started a small publishing company that was called Giant Interactive.
This is Lego we're talking about, not Traveler's Tales.
Yeah, this is Lego Interactive.
Right.
Starts this. I'm actually going to quote one of Traveler Games' founders, John Burton. This is something he stated in a 2006 interview. So he says, the key management people at Lego Interactive started a small publishing company then called Giant Interactive to produce the game. That's Lego Star Wars. That company had the exclusive rights to Lego Interactive. So as I saw how well the game was turning out, I could see the potential of Lego rights moving forward. After lots of discussions, we realized that we could work very well with Giant Interactive, and a developer-driven publisher could be a very nimble and effective organization. So we bought Giant Interactive, and in 2006, he says, it's been working out pretty well. which will talk about the success of the first 2005 Lego Star Wars: The Video Game. So when they bought Giant Interactive, Traveler's Tales and Giant Interactive had a merger, and they created TT Games, which if you've played any of these games, you've definitely seen it. Giant orange T, lowercase, like kind of blue T.
Normally leaning on the orange T.
Yeah,
Right.
always.
Right.
Well, it normally stands up and then it falls over.
Yeah.
I actually always thought that's where they got their name Traveler's Tales, because it was also
Yeah.
TTs.
So
Their
actually,
original logo
Traveler's
looks very
Tales
different.
was first, and that was created
Yeah.
to be a parent company of the two mergers. So Traveler's Tales is still around.
yeah,
That's what it looks like.
I mean
think
that's
it's like a
that's their
raccoon.
current logo.
Yeah.
No, this is it's the one they still use, but for
Yeah.
TT,
They
the
use
ones
it.
that makes
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're technically Traveler's Tales is a subsidiary of
Yeah.
TT.
Gotcha.
That's how the merger worked out.
Yeah,
So, just real quick. So in 2005, Lego Star Wars: The Video Game is released. It includes levels based on the 3 prequels that were out at that time. So Revenge of the Sith, had it come out yet? Or
No.
it was.
The
This was a few months
Lego Star
before.
Wars, the first video game, came out in March of 2005.
And Revenge of the
and
Sith was in May.
It was in May of 2005, so it came out
Oh,
beforehand.
Oh, this
Wow,
right. I saw
okay.
something about this because they speculate that maybe they had an early cut of it because there was
Yes.
something we'll get into, maybe them referencing a deleted scene.
Yes.
Hmm.
Do you want me to just spit it? Because I have it right here.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. This is from there's a video from Did You Know Gaming about Lego video games. But essentially, during Chapter 5 of the Revenge of the Sith part of Lego Star Wars, the first video game, there's a scene in which Obi-Wan and Yoda encounter some clone troopers who are disguised as Jedis outside of the Jedi Temple, and then they fight them. This is based off an actual deleted scene from the Revenge of the Sith.
that would have been awesome.
Which is weird because the game came out in March of 2005 and Revenge of the Sith came out in May 2005. And the speculation is that Traveler's Tales got like an early cut of the movie to work on, and then that scene got cut later on. So if you're playing the game and you're like, which first of all, it's a very rough adaptation
Right.
of these films, but yeah. Go on. What were you saying?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. It contains levels that walk you through the story of the 3 prequels. And they have a bonus level from A New Hope, which is teasing a game that came out the year after 2006, which is, I think they just called it Lego Star Wars: The Video Game 2.
The original trilogy.
The original
The original
trilogy.
trilogy, yeah.
Did they call it 2 or original trilogy?
2
2?
and original trilogy.
Oh, they called it both.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
it was Lego Star Wars
2.
the video game 2, the original trilogy.
High School Musical, the musical, the show.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The musical.
I
Okay, the
didn't
weird
mean to
thing
trigger
about that
you,
is that
Brett.
High School Musical, the musical,
Now
High
you've
School,
done it.
High School Musical, the musical, the series now is a show
Yes.
in which the East High, the high school,
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah,
seen
the
it.
Wildcats.
is performing the musical High School Musical that took place at their school.
And what's the problem?
It,
It's one school.
there's so many layers. It's like
More
an
layers
onion.
than Inception.
yeah. It's basically
It's a
if
great-
I'm waiting for like it to wake up and Gabriella's like oh, and she spins a top.
Yeah,
We're breaking free.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's also done like a mockumentary, which is interesting too.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, they have like doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo, like piano at the beginning of the episode.
My only last note on the history of Lego Star Wars: The Video Game is in 2007, the best and most definitive version of the game was created as a gift from Traveler's Tales to mankind.
Yes.
And that is Lego Star Wars: The Video Game, the complete saga, which includes all six
six.
of the held up 5 fingers for
Jonathan's
all
holding one
6
hand
of the Star Wars movies that were out at the time. Obviously, now there are more, and I think they're working on completing Star Wars: The Video Game the Skywalker Saga, which
Yep.
contains
Everything.
all 9 movies.
So
Bonkers.
we'll talk about this coming up, I'm sure, a little bit in some minors. But yes, they are now creating Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, which is episodes 1 through 9, maybe some extra thrown in there. And it looks like it's going to be a completely retread of the whole series. So if you're expecting to see the same level designs, some of the same cutscenes, everything from the games we've been talking about, the complete saga, these early versions, it's going to be completely different version of this.
Rated M for mature. What?
Well, one thing we should talk about a little bit in terms of the Lego games is this is a fact. This is a stat from 2013, so it's definitely changed. But in the top 10 best-selling Lego games, have sold up to like 75.80 million units. So these games
They do
make
well.
a ton of money, and that we're talking Star Wars as sort of our big core, since this is sort of the thing that kind of started this whole franchising of, now we have the Lego Pirates of the Caribbean game, we have Jurassic World, we have The Hobbit, we got all the superheroes, all the Batman ones. So, but these are definitely the one that stuck the furthest. One thing I did want to say was that Lego Star Wars was not their first franchise video game. They had made some before. They had done a few other ones beforehand, called from like a Harry Potter. Most of them were just more like creator ones. I think they had done one other. I think they did some.
Talking about Lego overall.
Lego overall.
Oh, okay,
So they had made
Traveler's Tales. I'm like,
No. Lego had made a Harry Potter one. They did. They're called Lego Creators, so they're not like what we have like Lego ones now.
Right.
But they had done another game that was a licensed property that was not Lego and was also sci-fi. This is from a American Canadian kids TV show called Galador, Defenders of the Outer Dimension. You all are looking at me with stump
The
faces.
name,
Okay, yeah.
the name actually is somewhat familiar. I need to
This is from
see.
the Wikipedia for Galador. The show is centered upon Nick Bluetooth, a 15-year-old boy.
Well, maybe not.
led with his friend Allegra Zane by an extraterrestrial map to a spacecraft named the Egg, which moves them into an outer dimension threatened by Gorm. And that's all I'm going to read today. So the interesting thing is that they had made a game for Windows and Game Boy Advance on this Galador series that they had already licensed with the toys. The interesting thing to notice is that Galador, the toys made by Lego, were not actually Legos. Lego was making... they were actually more like simply action figures with swappable body parts, something sort of similar to like the Bionicles. Very similar to that. But the theme, I'm reading from the Wikipedia, the theme was considered a commercial failure due to the bad design choices and lack of compatibility with other Lego themes. And there's only 15 sets overall.
Oh my God. We own some. I just looked it up. We own some of these.
Really?
I think we still have them.
Oh my gosh.
They're hideous.
Yeah, they're very scary. If you look up, so they made a video game for this,
So-
Galador, Defenders of the Outer Dimension.
Do you remember this,
It
Michael?
is a
I
Lego
do.
game with Lego on the cover and Lego in it, and there are no Legos in the whole game.
Huh.
So look it up and send us a copy. You can email Jonathan
Snody at gmail.com.
at gmail.com.
Someone's got to hop on that domain name.
Yeah.
Okay, someone already has that email address, right?
Why am I
Not-
getting sent all these?
Not me.
Why am I getting sent all these copies of Galador for Windows 93?
Windows 93.
It's interesting that you mentioned that there are no Lego bricks in that game, because that's one of the things that Traveler's Tales has really tried to do in all of their Lego games, is to make it so all the vehicles, all the creatures, a lot of the big sets are something you could build with Lego bricks. I think they actually have, like, their software has like scans of like hundreds of thousands of Lego bricks in it that they can build stuff with. And I think they have a stockpile of Lego bricks in their studio, and they design a lot of their vehicles by hand, like physically.
Yeah.
Before building them in
That's really cool.
the game engine.
Right, and that's what they say. Same sort of thing that they did with the Lego Movie, which is that if they didn't have a design for it ahead of time, that they would either try to build it with real Legos and then try to scan it in 3D, or they just have Lego call them and be like, we're the professionals.
Yeah.
They make it somehow. So, yeah.
Which is like, for an animated movie, as practical as you can get.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a few things I wanted to talk about in terms of sort of this sort of Legos. So the big things is that Lego Star Wars, the first one, there's sort of really 4 kind of pieces that really make the series of Lego games as a whole that we know of. The first big one is Minikits. Does anyone want to explain what those are?
So as you play through a level, I know because
I know you would.
Yeah,
I knew you'd be the one to explain this.
So
you love completing
I love
challenges.
Yes. So that 100% sign is just like perfect.
Yes, if you're a completionist, if you are the completionist,
Yeah.
YouTuber, the completionist.
Yeah. So
Contact
Reach
us.
out to Jonathan Snowden at gmail.com.
Yeah, email the completionist at jonathансnowdy@gmail.com. So Minikits are basically one of the many collectibles you can get in just about every level in just about any
And there's
Star Wars
10,
games.
right?
There's normally 10, yeah. Along with, and there's like maybe one other collectible, like a power brick or something. But generally, a lot of them some of them can be collected in like the first playthrough of like even when you're just playing through the story. But most of them do require your second playthrough on free play, which you can pick whatever characters you want. Because you can't pick and choose every character at any time in the story mode. So it really does allow you to, or force you if you want them to actually play throughout all the modes, which does help. Because free play is fun.
Free play is really fun. Are you guys familiar with? There's someone who does a playthrough of the complete saga as the Gonk droid.
Oh, the whole time?
The whole time.
Does he get the cheat of Super Gonk
That's the one that speeds you up.
and makes you jump?
For those who
18 feet
don't
in
know what the
air?
Gonk
No,
droid
okay.
is, should we explain what a Gonk droid is?
So the Gonk droid is he looks kind of like a trash
Jared,
can.
are you okay?
He's
Yeah, I
a
was-
rectangle.
For those of us
And he
that
goes,
might not. Oh my
"Gronk."
gosh.
Gonk.
You-
Look
That's
up the
hilarious.
Lego version.
It
The
just
Lego
says
version is-
Gonk. That's it.
Yeah, it's like Gonk.
Do you know what their actual purpose is?
I don't know their purpose.
They're portable generators.
Is that what they
That's
are?
what they are in the
That-
Star Wars universe.
That makes sense.
They just walk around. That's why you
Well, they're
always
not that
see-
portable.
Well,
They're very slow.
yes, but they do move is the point. But the thing is, that's why you always see them like in the Star Wars movie whenever they're in like a back alley area or like planet that's like out of the way of everything. There's normally a Gonk droid or a 2 around, you know, because that's how they get power.
Now, what I want to know is Empire Strikes Back. They freeze Han and carbonite, and built into that block of carbonite, is life reading sensors that tell them that he's still alive, and blinky lights.
Blinky light. Those are very important.
There's also those blocks of carbonite are levitating, on their own,
That's not.
and I want to know why.
I think that's.
The Gonk droid has legs then. Because his legs are so slow that it's faster if 2 stormtroopers pick him up and carry him where they need power.
I don't think carbonite can float by itself.
You think there's something in it? Like in that computer?
In that scene, I'm pretty sure someone is like holding something
they
and
have
they
like a
plug
cart.
it into it and that floats
They've
it.
got a
They got basically
hover forklift certified cloud
Remember,
city
if you're
security.
listening to this is about Lego Star Wars, the video game.
Here we are talking about.
Thank you for getting me back on topic. So
Yeah.
the Gonk droid,
Heck yeah.
he's a super slow character.
love
Walks
him.
super slowly. No, he does not use the Super
Gonk, okay.
achievement or power up that
Power-up, yeah.
speeds him up. He walks at the normal speed. The only power up he uses is self destruct.
Yep.
So that he can defeat enemies.
Right.
And I think the first level in a Phantom Menace, or the Phantom Menace, takes him like an hour and change to complete.
Oh, geez.
Through all the different parts for the
the
whole
entire-
episode, or just
So
the first
what you're
level?
saying,
Okay.
So what you're
okay.
saying, Jonathan, is that we need to Twitch stream us watching this whole thing or playing it. as
If
the-
we're gonna watch it,
We should
we
make it a
might as well
fundraiser.
play
a
it.
fundraiser, and we'll do it. Yeah, you send
Yeah.
us money.
Send the money to Jonathan
some of the-
Snowden at gmail.com.
Some of the other big pieces, the key factors of Lego Star Wars, I mentioned before. The other one was studs. So can you guys kind of explain what the studs are and what they do?
I'll let someone else do it because I will explain everything in this game.
Jared, do you?
Oh no, I was just watching the scene where Han gets frozen in
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I checked out for a little bit there. There is a machine that lifts it out.
Yeah.
No.
No, he's talking about when they cart him away.
Yeah, Boba
and
Fett
it like
takes him to
floats
his-
away. But I'm pretty sure they plugged something into the carbonite.
I think now that I'm thinking about it, I think you might be right.
Are we
Michael.
still talking about
But-
this? Oh.
But
You said we couldn't talk about the prequels.
Yeah.
I know. We'll talk.
so studs in Lego Star Wars the video game, those are money. So I think silver was like 10, gold is 100, and blue is 1,000.
It pretty much stays
awesome.
throughout all of the Lego games. is what I'm trying to say.
Was purple in the first one?
No.
I don't,
Okay.
I think
think
that
so.
was added later.
Yeah, that was that. I know that's in the second one because that's 10,000.
Yeah.
because they each increase in multiples of 10.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering.
I'm back.
Yeah, so essentially, like, it's going to be collected, but throughout the entire game, you can use that as to buy things with it.
Yeah, normally it's
later.
used to, so as you go through the story mode, you unlock the ability to buy characters. So, like, when you complete,
When you complete a level,
yeah,
you're
when you-
able to purchase the characters that are in that level for the most part.
Right. So, you do Attack of the Clones, the arena fight, and you can unlock the Geonosians.
Any character, I think it's any character that you didn't play as in the level that you played, you can buy. So, like, if that was the case, you'd be able to buy Jango Fett also.
Yeah. And I think in the complete saga, you then unlock their like various minifigure pieces in your character customization.
Yes.
Which they had a pretty fun character customization.
Even in the second one, the character customizer was so much fun.
Yes, because I was going to say that does not the idea of like build your own character did not come in until the second game.
Yeah.
And then the third piece of that made like the core of like Lego games have come from the series as the fact that you can build Lego like pieces and control or build something in the game. So for example, in this. We're talking Lego and Star Wars. That, for example, you might show up at like in Mos Eisley, and there might be like a bunch of like Lego pieces all over the ground, and then you and whoever you're playing with have to like build an AT-AT walker.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then like once you build it, it like shoots and like blows open a door, and you go through the level.
Right. And this
A
is
lot of things like
so mini kits, studs, buildable Lego pieces are like things that are like pretty much in every single game. They might be called something
Did we
differently.
finish what Minikits are for? We managed how to get them. But
They're
did we
just
manage what
they're
they're
just a
for?
collectible.
Yeah,
Essentially,
well, yeah.
they're collectible, but if you get all of them, you get you get something.
There
right?
are special levels that you play as the mini kits you complete.
Gotcha.
And so that's what they're for.
Jarrett, were you gonna say something?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say. And then the fourth piece is fourth piece. Get it?
Got him.
Woo! Good night, everybody.
Yeah. All right. Cut that out.
The fourth piece is physical humor, which is brought in through all of them. Is so. For example, and this just changed so much through the Lego games, but it started with the one we're starting with is Lego Star Wars video game. Is that they had to essentially tell a very abridged version of the prequel Star Wars movies, but with no dialogue.
Right.
Only like maybe some cartoonish sound effects. So everything had to be physical humor only for you, and if you wanted to explain what's going on.
Right.
And it honestly it worked really well.
It worked incredibly
Right.
well.
A lot of the stormtroopers, particularly, are used as sort
yeah,
of the like as gags.
They are
or
the
more
slapstick
like
gag.
Like
as
there's
clueless. Like they might like one might accidentally like hit the other one. They fall down a cliff or something.
Yeah.
Very classic cartoony.
Wilhelm scream.
There was a couple secrets that involved some of the stormtroopers. There was one, I think it was either on the Death Star or the very beginning of like the A New Hope level. And you would go, I think you went backwards instead of forwards in the level, and you would get to a secret area where a door opens and there's just a hot tub and a bunch of
I know what you're talking
stormtroopers in
about.
Speedos, like just soaking.
They're-
they have their helmets on,
they-
but they're wearing
There's
like
like two,
Speedos.
no. I know exactly what you're talking
And
about.
you can
There's two
unlock-
elevators, and you go up a different elevator.
Yeah, and you get to the
Beach troopers is
the
what they're
beach
called.
troopers.
Which is funny because those come in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Beach troopers, not dressed in like
Not
Speedos.
Speedo, but
Not quite the same.
You and I remember Rogue One very differently.
Were there any levels where you see a stormtrooper like hit his head on the?
No,
That
but-
sounds familiar. There's jokes like that. There's jokes like
because that's in.
They'd
the
reach
new
for their
episode,
blaster,
in
and
New
instead it
Hope.
would be like a flower or something.
Or a
yeah,
banana.
or like
Yeah.
I think there's one in like the second Lego Star Wars where like when Luke gets his first lightsaber, he like swings it around like
And chops
off.
C-3PO's
Yeah,
head.
chops C-3PO's head off or something. So it's very much like cartoonish classic humor that I love, and it's been around as a staple with the Lego games.
I
ever
used to
since.
watch that cutscene on loop.
Now, didn't they in Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens? Didn't they actually use audio clips, like dialogue clips from
Right, so
from
that's
the movie?
changed. Is that they've brought? I think that's been around longer than the Force Awakens
so?
Lego. Is that they've
Really?
they brought in dialogue, and with this new Lego Star Wars game that's coming out this year, hopefully, fingers crossed, is that they're bringing back like dialogue from the movies and using it. But they've used it for like some of the Batman ones. I think was the ones they started with, and then so it's changed.
Are they going to do that for the new one? Do you know at all?
Yes,
They're going
yeah,
to?
they've- Yeah,
Yeah.
That kinda
not-
sucks,
I don't think they're
actually.
bringing any new dialogue in.
Yeah, well, no,
'cause-
I don't think they've recorded any new dialogue. I
Yeah,
think they
yeah.
just take the
New
the voice
scenes.
lines
Whoa.
from the
From the movies.
Yeah, from the movies.
and
Which
that-
I kind of don't like.
I kind of liked it being just like everyone was
Yeah.
like
physical
"Ugh."
humor.
Like them miming.
Yeah, it is weird how I feel like these games we're talking about, like where it's just
Had a
kind of
charm.
miming or something, is way funnier. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's funny because you know what they're saying, but you don't really know what they're saying.
Yeah, there is a clip that we will post on our Twitter that I will show you guys after this, but I can't because it has some copyrighted music in it. But
Oh, okay.
you will understand.
Do it, you won't.
But yeah, things that have changed over the way you guys is that a hub world in the
Yeah.
original
It
Lego Star Wars
was
game,
Dexter's Diner.
Dexter's Diner, a
was
thing
very
that happened
small.
in a movie that I will not continue to talk about.
Yeah, it was a very small portion. It wasn't that remarkable.
No. And then in 2 and 3, it was changed as the hub world where you started as
Was Mos Eisley Cantina.
yeah, right.
Which is it's a much bigger area. There's several outside areas you can access through doors. There were different
lot more
things
iconic.
for each. There were offshoot rooms for each movie, broken down into however many episodes or how many ever chapters.
Right.
they made.
Yeah.
So did actual gameplay ever happen in these hub areas, or it was
Yes,
just
so
what you?
so this was like an open world, like to go around. All the characters that you have bought would appear there. So if you had bought the battle droid, he would be walking around the cantina. And the greatest thing, Michael already knows what I'm going to say.
yeah.
Brett probably knows. Was that if you attacked anyone,
Even the second player, even if you attack
if you
each other.
attacked anyone in the hub world, everyone would all fight everyone else.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And so
basically.
you could
Voice
just like
guns.
you could come up and punch like a
Yeah.
stormtrooper in the face, and then suddenly the battle droids in the corner, the Geonosian, the
People-
Wampa, all
doors-
just lose it.
Doors will open and people will just run with guns like ah!
Yeah, Boba Fett comes out, launches his like rocket. Yeah, it would just go from like
we're in a bar to we're in a bar.
the
0 to
cantina
60.
music to like the most intense,
Yeah.
the most ambitious
The Death
crossover
Star
of all
battle.
time.
It's so great. So I want to talk a little bit about how part of the Lego Star Wars just sort of part of promotion for Lego Star Wars and how they were incorporating it as part of promotion for the movies is at one point they created something called Lego Star Wars Revenge of the Brick. Now, Revenge of the Brick was the very first
that funny?
Lego Star Wars film. And the reason I want to talk about this is because it aired once. It aired one time on Cartoon Network, May 8th, 2005 at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Revenge of the Brick.
Revenge of the Brick. The interesting thing is that, to give you sort of an example, it's sort of 2 vignettes in a Lego spoof style, like we were talking about, mute, physical comedy of Revenge of the Sith. It is the opening battle, space battle, and then the battle on Kashyyyk with Yoda and the Wookiees. It's done really quickly. It's later been found on YouTube, all these things,
Oh, yeah.
and on, I think, one on the Lego website at one point. I want to bring it up because this is way before we ever got onto it, but I want to show you guys sort of the animation that they had used.
I remember these
was-
because the minifigs look terrifying.
Yeah, it looks really bad.
Oh. Chewbacca
yeah.
looks fine, but they look like
Yeah,
So-
I remember that gag.
Yeah, it was interesting since this was the first time that they hadn't really figured out how to do It was too fluid for animation for Legos.
I think the thing that
Everything
gets
looked
it-
like Mega Blocks like we were
the
talking
They
about.
problem
look
was-
they look like clay. They're
Yeah,
not shiny like
Right.
the plastic Legos made of. They also stretch in a way that Lego doesn't stretch, which is something they did differently in the Lego movie, as they didn't have bricks
Great in the
stretch in the middle.
I think the thing that makes it look the weirdest is that their faces aren't just like a texture on something. They're not just a
they've got, like,
sticker.
depth
You know,
and, like,
they've
modeling.
actually been like pulled out. You know,
Yeah.
so I think that's the reason why it looks so. The reason why it looks so jarring, to me at least.
Yeah.
I want to show you guys real quick for the video game, the newest version of Lego Star Wars Battlefront, or just they made Lego Star Wars Battlefront. Excuse me. So Lego Star Wars Battlefront is a mod in which they have Lego characters for Star Wars.
That's incredible.
Both of your
This
faces
is-
have lit
I
up,
love
is-
Battlefront.
It's
This is
Battlefront
making me so happy.
where you can play.
They've
everything-
modded the new Battlefront, right?
They've modded the new Battlefront
Okay.
so that the textures and the locations
Still.
are all the same, but the characters are now made to look like Legos.
I love it.
It looks really good. Whoever did this,
I-
congrats to you.
I know.
I love
Later they
this
get to
so
like, yeah,
much.
you can play with Jedis as
Oh
well.
my gosh.
But that is sick and looks really cool. So if you can't wait for the Skywalker saga to come out, just mod your Star Wars Battlefront too.
Dang.
Real quick, I did want to share one more thing, which is in 2002 there was the Lego set 7163, which was a Republic gunship, and
Is that the one with the face on it?
no, you'll see. So this is it.
Oh, it's just
right
the
here.
classic gunship. Okay.
Sort of the left, and there's a character in here, right there. I'll have a better picture of him. Essentially, it is a unnamed Jedi that the internet and Lego fans have been calling him Jedi Bob. So he showed up one time
Jedi Bob.
and
Was he
never
just
showed up
called
again.
Jedi in the set.
Just called it. He was just an unnamed Jedi.
Okay.
And so now he is known through the Lego Star Wars canon as Jedi Bob.
All right.
Nothing else. Just Jedi Bob.
Heck yeah.
And he's never should have won. So for all of you who are listening, hashtag justice for Jedi Bob.
Actually, technically,
if you're Disney and you're listening, I want a whole Disney Plus show.
where
on
is
Je-
Jedi Bob?
Oh,
Where's
you haven't
Jedi
heard?
Bob?
The next trilogy they're making is exclusively about him.
On Jedi Bob?
Bob trilogy.
You know, I've got
A Star
a
Wars-
Star
Bob
Wars
saga.
Bob 1,
Just,
Bob 2, Bob
just
3.
Bob, a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Bob Saget's Bob Saga.
Yeah.
They fly now. How have we not gotten this? How have we gotten this far and not made "They Fly Now" jokes?
I have
They
a little
fly.
fun fact about some Lego sets from around this era.
Okay.
Let me look up and see if I can find the specific one. So, if you play with Lego a lot, you might remember. So the classic Lego, they're yellow. It's kind of like a very Simpsons-looking.
You're talking
yellow
about like
skin
the
tone.
the
the
Lego
mini
skin
figures.
tone. Yeah, yeah.
Which
they-
I love, by the way.
Right.
I love the yellow, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very classic friendly. And Lego came out and said that like the reason it was yellow is they wanted a very basic, like it wasn't actually a skin tone. It was very much like this is like a child's imagination.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so,
So the Simpsons ripped off Lego.
Yeah.
well, since Lego's been around for
Jonathan's well.
He did the math.
yeah.
so, but in like 2003, they started switching that. I think it was they were working on Lego Harry Potter, where they had then Lego sets that were being based on characters that had like real physical actors and actresses that represented them, and they started bringing in more realistic flesh tones.
Right.
But before that, let me see if I can find.
So what you're saying is that Liam Neeson's not a real actor, and that the Qui-Gon Jinn is not real.
What? do you
Before that,
They fly now.
Lando
Quickly,
Calrissian
there's no time.
was the first Lego minifigure, I believe, to have a realistic
Skin tone? Yeah.
So there are some sets back in the day before Lego made this switch where their Han Solo and Leia are yellow,
Yeah.
Ooh.
and Lando Calrissian has like a dark brown skin tone.
Okay, so he was the first.
He was the first Lego minifigure to have a accurate skin tone.
Very interesting.
And that was, I believe, it would have been 1999 or 2000 around when that set came out.
Well, kudos to Billy D. Williams. I also
He walked into Lego and was like, guys, this isn't going to work.
well, I do have an interesting fact. This is from Lego. I guess we're almost done, but I was going to say that 1999 is the Jar Jar Binks minifigure was the first to ever have a unique Lego head sculpt.
Oh, nice.
Everything else had been just the
Man, Star
regular
Wars is
head
just
before.
getting it all.
Yeah, they got a bunch. And also Yoda, Boba Fett, and the Ewoks were the first minifigures to receive short legs. So
You're talking about young Boba Fett.
Yeah, young Boba Fett.
yeah.
Okay.
So
I was going to be
those-
like, wait.
Oh, and the
no,
Jawas.
the Sarlacc one.
The Jawas really envied all the sets that had Jawas in them, which was
Yeah.
only like one, and it was the Sandcrawler. It cost like $200.
Yeah.
I could never get it.
I always
if they made
remember
a-
the... No, go ahead.
No, I was saying, if they made a baby Yoda Lego, it would just be constantly getting lost.
Oh.
Everywhere.
I feel
They'd
like
have to make it
they've
so
already
small.
made one.
That's
I'm not
just
sure.
like
It'd be so tiny.
it's like a tan cylinder with a green stud on the top.
Yeah,
No,
that's all it
it's
is.
just Yoda's
Baby
head
Yoda.
on the...
It's just,
It's just the head on
the
a
Yoda
cylinder.
minifigure on a cylinder.
The first new male hairpiece in 20 years was created for Qui-Gon Jinn. The character that appears in most Star Wars, or most Lego sets, period, I believe, is R2D2.
Well, that makes sense.
Because
He's
in
super
everything.
popular.
Um,
I remember they used to make
Does
his
he
head
have-
silver, but his body was white, and that really annoyed me.
Yeah, there was a few of them. Yeah, there was a few of them that they had sort of it was painted on.
yeah, it's changed. And Zam Wessel minifigure was the very first minifigure to have a double-sided face decoration.
Oh, wow.
That was the first one. They've used that in a bunch of other things.
Yeah,
since
yeah.
then.
So Zam Wessel, shout out to Zam Wessel.
See, the problem...
Can't wait to see her in the Bob of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Her and Max Rebo and Yaddle and all your favorites.
Plo Koon.
Watto.
Jedi Bob.
I actually like Plo Koon.
Jedi Bob. You remember hashtag justice for Jedi Bob?
Yeah.
I can't even freaking say it.
Yeah.
Um,
How can you remember?
That's
if you
all my
can't say
notes.
it?
Do you-
yeah, that's the end of my notes.
Jarrett, you got anything else?
Oh, I long ran out of notes.
I thought he was about to say, I
hope you've
much,
had
much
no, no.
more.
I hope
And I
you've
was
had fun with this conversation.
Yes.
End of part 1.
Yeah.
Come back next week.
Remove
we're
the
talking about
tape and
Right,
put in
yeah.
two.
the B-sides. That's all
Yeah,
I've
flip
got.
to side
Michael,
B.
you have anything you want to add?
I mean, for those who have played the second one, I hope you remember the greatest character who ever appeared in it. Don't
this-
say uh-oh.
Is this the pit droid?
This is one of the... This is the
That is
reason...
what my roommate has been telling me. I told him I was
No.
doing research for this, and he keeps telling me about the pit droid was like his favorite.
I
go-to
do love the
character.
pit droid, but remember, in the second game, there was no... That was the original trilogy, so there was no pit droids, because they were only in the first
you're,
three.
You're talking about... Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
I'm
this
talking
character?
about...
Pull him up. Let me see.
He's just called... People have just called him basically Mustache, and he's one of the Hoth troopers that spies the AT-AT walkers, and then he gets shot and dies, and all that's left is his mustache. And so I made a meme with that picture that just said, from the Avengers Endgame, Hoth just lost its best defender.
Oh, that's good. There was also an upgrade that gave you the... It was called Disguise,
Yeah.
and it was like the fake
The
glasses
goggles and the nose,
with
yeah.
the mustache.
So good.
It just
I think
put
that
it
was
on
a
every
cheat
character.
code, right?
Yeah.
It was just one of the cheats, yeah.
Yeah,
Is
you
that
could
why
buy.
you said you would want to
Yes,
live
that
on Hoth?
I if he was not there, I would become him. I would just be like, that's
amazing.
me.
That's amazing.
Can you grow that mustache?
So we've circled.
I will
Can you make
dang
it
try. You know what? The cold would motivate me to like
That's
grow
it.
it out real big to keep my face warm.
Yeah. It's funny that we circle around to that because there's something else that we were going to circle around to, which was Lego Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That-
yeah.
I think that should happen.
I would love that.
I'm pretty sure. Hang on. I'm going to look it up.
There's no way it wouldn't happen.
Well, it's also funny that we mentioned that we were going to circle back around to that. So, Michael, I don't know if anyone's mentioned this to you, but we've been starting this tradition of we get a gift for every guest we have on this show.
Okay.
So
No, I have not been told anything about this.
I have picked out a little surprise for you. It's actually going to be a surprise for my other two hosts as
Yeah,
well.
well,
I haven't
okay.
told them what it is, but it's very on theme, and I'm very excited to give it to you because I think you're going to love it.
Okay.
So I have it down underneath my chair.
All right.
It's a plastic bag.
Oh wow, from Target.
So go ahead and open
All right.
that up.
Here we go. Oh boy, I can already tell.
Oh.
There we go.
I didn't even know they made the Mandalorian sets yet.
Tell
quick.
Tell
So,
our audience what you
this
have.
is from Lego Star Wars set 75267. You can Google it if you want a good picture.
Someone
but it's,
breaks their car.
but yeah, it's
I'm gonna be late for dinner.
were there really were there really 4 like other because I remember him talking to at least like
Mandalorian.
1 or 2 of them.
No, there's more than that, but there's at least 4 in that first.
I
scene in the
recognize the one with the blue helmet because that was the big dude
Yeah.
that was like at the very end he was like, "This is the way."
Yeah, you're right.
Remember the one that says "This is the way"? That
Well, the one that he argued with earlier.
The one he had this like confrontation, and they're like, "What's wrong, Pipsqueak?"
Yeah, basically. Yeah,
So you have a Lego Star Wars Mandalorian kit.
Battle Pass,
yeah,
Very
man.
cool.
So you got like a little.
I need it.
speeder.
We'll have to get a picture of you
and
with
like,
it for
yeah,
social
bro.
media.
Yeah.
Well, awesome.
Yeah. Thanks
And-
so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
no problem.
Anything else?
That's the last.
I would love to ask what is. Oh, that's the video.
We'll show you
have
in
to
a
show us.
second.
Okay, yeah.
We'll post it up. But yeah, other than that,
I think.
yeah, thanks so much for listening. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and rate us wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on Twitter and on Instagram with Most Extreme Pod. And if you have any questions or want to
Get
somehow
a free Timex Indiglo triathlon watch.
if you want to send us a
Email
copy,
Jonathan.Snowden
if you want to send us a
@gmail.com.
copy of Galador, Defenders of the Outer Dimension, email us at mostextremepodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. # Justice for Jedi Bob.
That's it.
Bye.
See ya.